So, does Elite have a future? Is the question weighing on a lot of the community's mind currently, because with the recent announcements and live streams, that hasn't done anything to alleviate people's worries about the future of the game. Because on one hand, they just cut off 20% of their player base with not giving it consoles, and probably even more with people on PC who are not able to run Odyssey or just don't want to buy it for whatever reason. But on the other hand, they just freed up a bunch of manpower and man hours to continue development on Odyssey, with them no longer having to develop for consoles and no longer having to support two different code bases. So from what I've heard and seen in the community, there's really two different sides, two different ways of viewing this. One side's like, yeah, they just cut off 20% of their player base. They're done. They're going to release whatever they have, whatever story content. If they have any more content to throw into Odyssey, they're going to do that, release that all, and then when that runs out, they're just going to put Elite out to pasture, and it's going to be the end of the road for Elite. And the other side's like, hey, they have a ton of man hours and manpower. Now they can finally start developing the content for Odyssey and bring Odyssey up to its full potential. Now, in this video, I'm going to look at a bunch of like finances and different things and stuff like that to try and get the best idea of what Fdev may do. I don't have any insider information. I have no idea what their plan are, but I think we can get a pretty good idea from looking at stuff of what the plan potentially is. Now, a lot of this information I pulled from a financial report that they sent to their investors. I will link it down below in case you want to check it out. It is pretty boring, but it is there in case you want to check it out. First off, from diving into their finances, I do not think they're going to sell the company. They're sitting on a ton of cash. As this picture shows, they're not cash poor company, and their stock prices are super low right now, so they want to make a ton of money from selling the company right now. And they have no reason to, because they got a lot of cash to continue operations. So unless something drastic happens this year, they're probably not going to sell. This next picture that I want to talk about shows kind of the roadmap for their future and like what they're planning for a lot of their games. If we look at Elite Dangerous, it just has Odyssey on there. Now, I don't think this is very telling because it's not very granular. It doesn't have a lot of details, and I don't think they would announce another DLC with how the community feels about Odyssey right now. I think that would be a bad PR move. So I don't think this tells us anything about what's going on with the future of the game, even though it does just show Odyssey for the foreseeable future currently. This next graph that I'm going to show you is significantly more interesting in my opinion, because it shows how much they're talking about how they do live service games and make money over time, and Elite is suspiciously absent from this chart, so we can't really see how Elite Dangerous stacks up with the rest of their games. Is it competitive? Is it doing decent? Anything like that. Now, I don't know if they're trying to hide something, like Elite's not doing well and it's just David Braben's baby and he wants to keep it around, or if it's something like it just didn't fit in with the chart since all these games were released after they already became a company and Elite Dangerous was crowdfunded, so it just didn't work with the chart. Who knows? It is kind of weird. But it does make us have to kind of dive into maybe not as reliable of a source to kind of get information about Elite Dangerous. And this right here is the only thing where I could really find, this next picture I'm going to throw up is the only thing I could find that kind of compares Elite Dangerous's income compared to the other games. But unfortunately, it's in deferred income, which doesn't really show the whole picture. And if you're like me and didn't know what deferred income is and had to look it up, I also called somebody that's more into like trading stocks and knows more about this kind of financial stuff than me, just to make sure I got it right. But deferred income is an advance payment from a customer for goods or services that have not yet been delivered. So this is only a small picture of what they're making overall. And anyway, what this shows is that Elite Dangerous is the second highest out of all their games on this deferred income. Now, I don't know if that translates to Elite Dangerous making the second most amount of money or not, but it does seem like Elite Dangerous does still do pretty well, at the very least, for making them money. So it could be the second most, it may not be, but it does seem like Elite Dangerous still makes some money. So if this is true, why do all their actions, like their live streams and not announcing any new roadmap or any new progress, kind of saying like, hey, we're not going to do these constant updates that they have been doing since Odyssey released because they feel like it's in a better spot now? Why does all this feel like they're stopping the content? Like, if Elite Dangerous is still making them money and it's financially viable to put money into it, why has it stopped? Well, I think there's quite a few answers to this question. And this is where we're really getting into the speculation stage of the video, kind of where we don't really have any clear answers and we're just guessing. With all the research on the topic and what they've said, it doesn't really seem, we don't really get a clear answer either way. I mean, looking at the financial stuff, we get a vague impression that Elite Dangerous is still doing well despite the community sentiment over the Odyssey, which would indicate that they should continue to invest in Elite Dangerous, and it would be worth it for them. However, from the stuff that they've recently said and losing 20% of their community potentially with the loss of consoles, it seems like they don't have plans or a roadmap or anything that they want to do, even though that these decisions that they have made would make developing further on Elite Dangerous more streamlined and easier to do. With all that being said, I believe the current confusion is because they themselves do not know what they are going to do. And they are waiting to see how their profits are after all these announcements of losing consoles and stuff like that before they make a decision, so that they're going to release what they have. And if it goes over well and the community enjoys it and they're continuing to make money, or Odyssey starts selling more copies because of this and stuff like that, I think they will continue to develop Odyssey. However, if the money's not there, I think they will put it out to pasture, because investing into any more large DLC like Odyssey, like this last one, really burned them. They didn't make the type of money that they thought they would, so that might scare them off from doing future investments. So let me know down in the comments below what you think. Do you think the story mode content and all the stuff that potentially they're about to release is enough to bring the community back and get the money flowing in Elite to make them feel like it's worth continuing to develop? Or do you think the lack of effort and attitude will become a self-fulfilling prophecy where players just won't get as invested into the game and make it so that it seems like it's not worth developing anymore? Anyway, thank you all for watching this video.